what is Inflation Reduction Act? Before we go into the fun part, I just want you to know that it's so new. It's new, just fresh out of the bowl. It's August 16, 2022, and it just came out. This bill was aiming to fight inflation. But of course, there's many other ways to fight inflation. But this particular bill is fighting inflation by investing in domestic energy production and manufacturing. And also the aim of the bill by 2020, okay, we are in 2022. By 2020, by 40%. So that's aggressive bill. 40% is like half of the way. And half of the way, there's so many things are having pollution elements to it. At household, we know that probably your gas stove, that is a pollution. And if you have like this gas pipe outside of your yard and you're doing barbecues, and that's pollution. So those are the things this bill is aiming to reduce. And of course, along with this Inflation Reduction Act, it also allowed Medicaid to negotiate for prescription drugs prices, and so to extend Affordable Care Act to 2025. So those are related to the medical side of things. I thought those are all really good changes. I mean, will save a lot of people's grace at that time, thinking of losing the Affordable Care Act, but you're not. You're getting that enhanced and also extended. So with that, and I want to draw your attention to one thing that this bill is trying to do. This bill also want to reduce deficit, okay? Reduce deficit by 305 billion through 2031. And that 305 billion can be accomplished by many elements, right? But they laid it out pretty much the majority of it. They're saying that 200 billion of this saving would come from stronger tax compliance. What does that mean? Stronger means more auditors. Stronger means more money to hire the auditors, and stronger means more requirement written and a more restricted application. So those are all coming. Tax compliance, that's very broad. That includes all the tax credit that was going out to people last 2 years, PPP 1, 2, and the ERC, RF, sheltered grant, state revenue, federal revenue, all of these stuff are coming in. It was a free money at one time. Now they're talking about compliance. So folks, I just want to say that the road ahead of small, successful business owners are not smooth. And one recession hit, and not just the economy bring you down, bring you up, and make you swirling around. It is also the policy. The governmental policy will drive business to thrive or to reduce. So with this kind of compliance, just depends on where they put their emphasis. If they are going to shoot for lower hanging fruit, which is the small business owners who doesn't even have money to hire accountant, let alone about tax compliance answering, they won't be able to do. But these are the people might get audited the most. That $200 billion may have a big chunk of it as a receivable because people don't have money to pay. So they're just gonna owe a lot of it, right? So that is the Inflation Reduction Act in general. And now let's focus on just one small piece of this act, which is related to our household. Show you a picture. Household benefit of the Inflation Reduction Act. And I borrowed this picture. From www.etf.org. It's a nonprofit organization. You can log on to donate, and they are the one that helping people to understand how to save the environment. They're really focused on saving the world for us. So they study the Inflation Act and draw up that picture to show you in a house are 8 areas of place that you can save money. This is household benefit of the Inflation Reduction Act. There are different parts, but today we're going to focus on 8 places around your home where you should start saving money. Isn't that fun? All right, let's look at the first one. The number one, in your driveway. Wow, in your driveway. Look at that picture. That kind of tells you in your driveway, you should have a electronic vehicle, and they call them clean vehicle. They had this new name for it, electronic vehicle subsidy. Like they give you, the government carved out the money to give you to save money. So read into it beginning in 2023. Okay, not right now. We're in 2022. If you buy electronic vehicles right now, like Tesla, you don't get those credit because their quota is already gone, and you don't get any tax benefit right now. But if you buy electronic vehicles of other people, and you might, so I'll show you where you find that list, right? But in 2023, there's no more cap on that. So the new law reward qualifying electronic vehicle buyer with tax credit up to 4,000, for purchase of used electronic vehicle. If it is a new one, it's 7,500. And we're talking about tax credit, folks. Tax credit is not the same as tax deduction, right? Because tax credit means you get that if you pay $4,000 tax, and because you bought a used electronic vehicle, and you pay zero tax because it reverses your tax dollars. So that $4,000 is much bigger than the tax deduction. It is not a $4,000 income deduction. It is $4,000 tax credit. Same, $7,500 tax credit in 2024. This is like after next year, the year after, this credit will be issued at the dealer place. So you would not bother with your tax return anymore, and you will get that at the dealer place. And the requirement for the electronic vehicle, it has to be final assembled in North America to qualify. So I have this link here. Show you when we get through these 8 points. I show you where on the website you can check to make sure that the vehicle was actually done in North America. You probably will be like, how do I know they were North America or not? And the easiest way to think about this is when you go to buy your car with your dealer, you ask that question. You ask whether this electronic vehicle allow me to claim the credit or no. So the dealership would know that really well because that's their business. They would study this part of law really well to be able to answer your question. Okay. And then one more thing I want to mention to you is the credit also extended to 2032. So that means, you have this credit for a while. So if you didn't really save enough money to buy Tesla yet in 2023, just chill off and you have time. That could go all the way to 2032. And also one more point I want to make is not exactly just the electronic vehicle. That also includes hydrogen fuel cell cars. So that is another category of cars also eligible for these credit. So now in your driveway, you got this car that Inflation Reduction Act it is talking about. Now, what other part of your house that you need to know there is a benefit to it? Add your thermostat. This thermostat thing is, in my house, that is the thing driving me bananas all the time because it's not really working. and it doesn't seem to reflect the temperature I want it to be. So yeah, English is my second language. Thermostat is not even the language in English classes and stuff, I didn't really learn that word. And it was just learned because it has so much trouble in throughout my experience with all these, room temperatures, office temperatures, and a thermostat is a troublemaker in my own life. It's never easy. All right. So there, the thermostat part of the energy under the Inflation Act, and it talks about clean energy incentives versus the natural gas. You know how some households are actually using natural gas to heat and fuel, cook, things like that. So this clean energy actually just means to turn that around to have the household using electric. So clean energy, supporting a grid-wide move to a cheaper, cleaner source of energy, which is electricity. And this will save household 170 to 220 annually and reduce electricity price voltage. Voltage price on electricity will go down if that is being used. So this part of thermostat kind of saving is coming from the larger companies initiative, like these big energy companies initiative. They are getting fundings to move energy from natural gas to clean energy like electricity. So with that done, then as a consumer, when we subscribe energy, we don't do gas anymore, we do electricity. That is what they meant by grid-wide move, which is by grid, right? The electricity grid, and the grid can be certain sizes. Then they move certain areas into the electricity grid so that you can be supported with a clean energy. And if that is being accomplished, it will save household 170 to $220 a year on our bills, because the large usage of the electricity will lower the price of the electricity. So it will benefit every household. So it's not a to-do we have, but it is something that as a direction the country is going, because that bill will incentivize the large companies, the energy companies, to go to a direction that will create clean energy. All right, so that's our thermostat. And the third one, utility room. Oh, we all have utility room, right? If you look at this picture, that utility room is actually is number 3. They didn't really show much of a utility room. Actually, we're on the corner on the top where the number 5 is. That's kind of like a utility room. Utility room, and we all have that in the house with water heaters and stuff like that, and nobody wants to go. The other day, I just found a dead mouse in my utility room because nobody goes there, so it just was there for a long time. Okay, let's talk about this. So the new law, this Inflation Act, offers a rebate of green in your household to help to pay upfront costs and prioritize funds for family with low and moderate incomes. Example, those who get a energy efficient heat pump water heater will be eligible rebate up to 1,750, and a upgraded breaker box and will be eligible up to $4,000 rebate. So you can find out what you qualify by using this calculator. This is rewiringamerica.org, is also a nonprofit organization. I actually went over and did a data calculation for a imaginary family. So I used the zip code in Iowa and the central Iowa, and homeowner, and I said homeowner, household income 150,000, filing jointly married couple with 3 kids. So 5 people in the household, I calculated. So with this calculation, it gives us a summary of what we are looking at in terms of saving if we do some improvement for our own house, for our own property. Okay, so that calculation says total incentives of 32,550. It has 3 parts. Number 1 part is upfront discount. I'll talk to you about that. I'll tell you where and you would get your upfront discount. Then available tax credit, 18,550. I'll explain to you about 25C tax credit, 25D tax credit. Then the last part is the saving of your utility bill. So that is not something we will tell you, because once you implemented those energy efficiency method in your household, you would save that 1,300 per year. I mean, when I look at that number, I'm like, 1,300 per year, that just didn't rock my earth. It's like, all right, great, $100 a month. But remember, that is a forever saving. Not only you save, and you contributed to a better environment, right? So if all of us can move forward to green energy, and then the earth quality, our air quality, and our money for the energy purchase would all get better. So that is just a direction the government want to push us to. But $1,300 saving not going to sell it. But the tax credit of 18,550, that will sell it, because tax credit, remember folks, tax credit is not an income reduction. It is not just to say that you saved, you had an additional $18,550 deduction. It actually says that if you are going to pay $18,550 taxes at the end of the year, when you file your taxes with Ying, and Ying tell you that, you're gonna pay $18,550 taxes, and you go, voila, I have all of these energies. So you most likely will reduce your tax amount by the things that you implement for your house. All right. So now we know that the 14,000, that's the maximum upfront cost. So let's go to my next slide. And here, and I want to explain that blue little map. It is small, but that just tell you that was the number we were looking at earlier, right here, right? So I just going to leave it there. The next picture you see on the left, that is an electricity panel. I think you saw those ugly stuff in your garage or somewhere hiding in your house. Sometimes your electricity went out. You go down there to see whether any breaker come out and you want to reconnect them, right? So that stuff, I really don't know anything about electricity. I just tell you, I'm just talking based on my own experience, because that breaker in my house looks so ugly. I don't even want to look at it. So that is what they're talking about. So let's kind of look at my point here. So the upfront discount, this one is administered by this organization. I have no idea how to say it. I think it's a HEHRA, but just know if you type into this abbreviation, it will give you that organization, because this is part of the new Inflation Reduction Act. They were going to create this entity, and they are providing rebate on efficient electricity appliances to low and middle income families. So there will be an organization and helping to handle these rebate. So you can, if you put in the electricity panel and your electrician company told you that, you can qualify for rebate, you may want to look into that. And then they may even give you a form from HEHRA. I don't know what that would be yet because it's still new, okay? But it will be available to you. Then when you fill it up, based on your income level, they will decide how much to give you. And 14,000 is the maximum. That money is not taxable. That is a rebate of your purchase. So you would put it in your pocket as if you bought a cheaper product. Make sense? All right. Then you remember there was 3 numbers on there, 14,000, then the other one was 18,550. Remember that 18,550 is tax credit. There's 2 type of tax credit we're talking about under Inflation Act. One is 25C tax credit. The other one is 25D tax credit. And just remember that the 25D tax credit has something to do with solar panel. And this is this Inflation Reduction Act had made the solar panel percentage higher. So now it is 30% of tax credit to go back to the household where you installed solar panels. So let's say your solar panel was 20,000. So I'm going to use my calculator here. Let's say you installed a solar panel for 20,000. Then I will times 30%. So that gives you $6,000, right? That's $6,000. That is your tax credit. It's not your reduction of your expense. It is tax credit on your tax return. So that is the tax credit 25D I'm talking about. But this 25D tax credit has something to do with 25C, because when you have your solar panel installed, you also probably need to upgrade your electronical panel and things that can save your electricity while you don't use it. You know, it ugly looking like that. It looks like a bug, isn't it? And it just like it's electrical panel that you need to replace. And there's also help for you on that. There's the tax credit up to 600. But if you coupled this electricity panel with your solar panel together, then your rebate is higher. So I just want to mention that to you, so you know that you're not going to be an expert in this. I am not expert in this either, but we need to know what is the possibility. So when you are calling somebody or someone come to your house, goes, wow, you got a perfect house to do solar panel. You got no trees and the sun. Oh, let's do solar panel. Then they talk about 30%. Then they talk about panel deduction. Then you know where they're coming from. And you want to, at that time, and combining your household income situation and make sure you qualify. All right. So that 25C tax credit, it talks about electrical panel. If you don't do that in conjunction with your solar panel, then you just have electrical panel upgrade. For example, you have a gas stove. Now you're going to make electricity one. Then the electrician said that your current electrical panel not going to work. Couldn't handle that. Then you need to upgrade. When you do that, you capped at $600 per year for that upgrade. So you can claim $600 tax credit on that. And also the winterization project also can qualify for $1,200 per year tax credit per year, folks. So that means what? You don't have to do all of it in 1 year. You can split up your expenses and then you claim credit year after year, right? So what is weatherization? Sorry. To me, it's a winterization. Weatherization things are like insulation, ceiling cracks, reduce the heat loss by what? So anything that helps to preserve energy so you don't spend a whole bunch of heating bills. So that is what that is. Heat pumps and water heaters are subject to the 25C cap of $2,000 per year. So I would say that don't replace them in one shot and do them one at a time, and you have that per year credit. Side note, the tax credit for electronic panel upgrade can only be claimed as the panel is upgraded in conjunction with other upgrade covered by 25C and 25D. So I kind of use the example of if you have a gas stove, when you you change to electricity stove, then your panel need to change, only connected to your upgrade, right? In the case where both 25C and 25D are applicable for the panel upgrade, you cannot combine them. So you cannot be like, oh yeah, I can just add. So I got bigger upgrade, bigger tax credit. No, they're separated. So the electrical panel upgrade, it cannot be combined. So now this is so much about the utility room. Let's do number 4. Our number 4 is in the kitchen. I like that. So in the kitchen, so what's in the kitchen that Inflation Reduction Act actually do? And gas stove leak, methane, a potent greenhouse gas, even when they are not used. So there is a statistical data saying that, the gas leaked from the stove, from the use in the country is equivalent to 500,000 cars on the road. So it was quite a big waste, a big pollution per se. And the Inflation Reduction Act provides a rebate of up to $840 for an electric stove, cooktop, range, or oven to make the purchase more affordable. So that means there's $840 is paid by the Inflation Reduction Act. That will save and help reduce your pollution, right? The rebate will come through as a point of sales rebate. So you need to watch that come into the market is in 2023. So if you were going to change your stove right now, you may just wait until 2023. When the Inflation Reduction Act come in, you will find out in the retail stores, they're going to have signs come out saying that if you buy this one, and there is Inflation Reduction Act rebate of $840. So for some household, you might even get it for free. If the thing is only worth for $840, you take it home for free, right? So that is what in the kitchen. Okay. In the inspection, see, that's number 5 is right here. So in the attic and where you don't use, normally you would see what? You would see the foams and the kind of piled up. And, that is a insulation for efficiency of energy. Adding insulation prevents wasted energy and save money. That's for sure. Some households are now eligible for rebate up to $1,200 just for improving their home insulation and the ceiling energy leaks. So what that says to you is, folks, when you call up the contractors to have them do that for you before the winter, and then you want to ask them whether they know anything about the rebate for the Inflation Act. And if they are well-established company, they already studied it because it has everything to do with their business. So I got the picture in here. Those are all insulation related work, duct sealing and air sealing and insulation. You see how they were just blowing the foam so that it will insulate. So these are important things. Not that I give you the answer to tell you who to call and so you can get your rebate, but we are giving you that knowledge. So you know to ask when you do the winterization. Projects can include insulation, air sealing, and the ventilation. That kind of I showed you the picture. You'll also save money from this since it will lower your monthly bill. Of course, all of these things we do is gonna lower our monthly bill, but that part is even less important because we're going to do it anyway. We need to do it anyway, but you want to know that there's a rebate out there made available to people. Make sure you qualify. Of course, it is very possible that when your income gets into $400,000 a year level, you do not qualify. And if you don't qualify, but you know that is there, right? Other people can qualify. The rebate for household with moderate income covers 50% of these costs up to 1,200. So maybe your contractor comes in, goes, okay, I'll do the installation, but the cost will be 1,200. But because you are eligible for the rebate, then even if they charge you 1,200, you'll get it back. So basically it's done for free, right? So that's weatherization. Number 5. Then let's look at number 6. 6 is in the laundry room. So look at there, now our houses are pretty smart. Laundry rooms are kind of at the doorway. So in our laundry room, so what can we do to be more efficient? So let's look at about it. There in Europe, there is more popular ways of drying clothes. They call them heat pump drying. And according to the study, and it is energy efficient alternative to traditional dryers that we use. The heat pump dryer sends moist air through a evaporator and then recirculate the dry hot air within. The process takes a bit longer to dry, and it would be more 50% more efficiency. This Inflation Act encouraged consumer to switch to electronic heat pump dryer with a rebate of $840. That's quite a bit dollars because I remember the dryer washer we bought together was probably about $840. So that rebate really probably just going to hand over to you a new dryer. So if you're thinking of changing your dryer and wanting to take advantage of the Inflation Reduction Act benefit, there you go. Of course, when we talk about rebate, folks, it is always sort of related to the retailer or related to your service provider. Rebate typically is not handled by the government, but of course they can set up this organization. Earlier we saw that HEHAC, I think that's what they're doing. I didn't really bother to figure out what those stand for, but those organizations will process the claims. So you fill up the form, you submit, they send back a check to you. So that's a rebate. But in a lot of times when the machinery is selling on the floor, the retailer, the dealer are the one that handles the rebates. So you would just be look out to the retailers when you buy the heat pump clothes dryer, and you can ask that question, which one is the one that's supported by the Inflation Reduction Act and which carries $840 rebate. So, with that, that you're covered because all of these, those new act come out, they're not exactly all reflected on your income tax forms. Just like the vehicle credit, right now they're on 1040, they're on income tax forms, but they're talking about in 2024, you won't need to do that anymore. They will just give you at the dealership, right? All right, let's look at number 7. Number 7 is at the AC unit. That is air conditioning stuff, right? Kind of related to the thermometer. And here, cooling your house. Air conditioners use a lot of electricity. So this bill will encourage a more efficient way to cool your house. And a heat pump uses 5 times less energy than an air conditioner, and it can create both heat and cool for your house. So the households can qualify for tax credit. Tax credits, hear that? Up to $2,000. So that's not a rebate. That's a tax credit for $2,000 for purchase of electronic heat pump. So what does that mean? That means when you purchase, there is no rebate going on. You just purchase. But with that receipt, with that ID, serial number you have, you will be able to you'll be able to do your 1040 with that tax credit claim, 2,000. And for low income household, the new law provides a rebate of up to 8,000 on installation. For the tax credit program, the incentive applies to equipment installed on January the 1st, 2023 or later. So folks, a lot of this won't come to play yet until in 2023. So we have, if you are thinking of making changes to your house, this is the time, 2023, folks. I expected a lot of these things coming in 2023. So, for me, in a CPA world business, right? So we look at this, of course, we're happy for you you got all of these, but at the same time, in our mind, we're looking at training staff to know how to process these kind of tax credit, what form to use, which line to fill in, and how to ask client questions, because there will be people coming to do taxes and had already changed to this, heat pump kind of cooling system, but didn't even know they can get $2,000 tax credit. I just hope that when they deal with the dealers, deal with the service provider, these service provider can talk a little bit about the benefit of doing it now than later. So that kind of register with people that, okay, I got tax credit. Then when they come into our firm to do taxes, that would be a natural conversation. Oh, I think I have a tax credit. Do you know anything about it? Then we will be like, oh, yes, of course. We already got trained. We know exactly where to use that credit for you. And so stuff like that. So it is a very big system implementation. These are big deals, even though they show up like a couple $100, but imagine the quantity out there. So for the government, it's billions and trillions. Okay, so I want to narrow down the act to such a way that let you see just right in front of you. So we don't have to be visionary, but we want to be practical. All right, the last one and is on the roof. So what is on the roof? That is a solar panel. So the residential clean energy credit includes in the new law provides a tax credit up to 30% to household that invested in clean energy such as solar. 30% of the cost, my dear. And if you spend, in here I have an example. The bill is retroactively to beginning of 2022. So if you are installing solar panel, you spend some money in 2022, no problem, and you still have that 30%. Average cost of installing a residential rooftop solar powered system is about 19,000. That is a 5,700 in saving in taxes. So I want you to hear me really well here. Another way of explaining this tax saving, it is approximately equivalent to taxable income deduction of 21,000. So let's say you have two income in the household. One of the income is W-2 of 21,000. To install the solar panel, basically wipe out your income for the W-2 because it gives you that tax credit, 5,700, you refund, you got all of your withholding back and more. So that is the impact it has on you. So the average solar powered home save about $300 every year on electricity. So the total saving for a family is 9,000 over the life of the solar panel. So the solar panel life that is budgeted at 30 years. So if 300 times 30 years, of course, is 9,000. That not even gonna, take my feet off the ground and I'm excited. No, it is not. It is the saving every year. 300 is 300, right? If I save $300, I can buy a little baby, baby toy cars and for the kids to play. So that's quite a that's a money, but that's not even where that excites people to do solar panel. And the thing about solar panel is clean energy. So the government is saying that we know, you save this much, you're definitely saving, but while you are putting it on, we're also going to give you 30%. So that is where the incentive power comes in. So make people who don't want to do it, suddenly thinking of doing it, right? So, I constantly thinking about solar panels for my own home. I am thinking, but it requires the home to be in a less shaded area, so you have your solar panel right on the rooftop. Otherwise you have to put it elsewhere to have, to find the sun shining over it. I felt like I just don't really have a place where there's no trees. Living in Midwest, one of the benefit is that you're surrounded by nature, right? You're surrounded by trees, so there's a lot of trees. Is That's why solar panel, I haven't really have a hand-on experience on that for you, but this is something you should really look into.